I'm gonna check one thing.
Oh,
Hold on.
shit.
Did you go live?
Yeah.
All right, I will too.
Welcome to the Scale Builders Guild. And
Welcome to Harley Designs
uh,
and the Scale Builders Guild.
did you do this? Is that what you just did? Welcome back to this.
Yeah. Wait for it. Wait for it. It is the 14th episode of this, Matt.
I can't believe we've done it this
If
many
you
times.
Average that we talk to ourselves here for 3 hours at a time. That's a lot of hours.
That's a lot of hours. Yeah, 14
I'm not great
times.
at math.
No,
Yeah.
don't ask me. As far as I'm concerned, we've done this a million times. That's what it feels like.
Right.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of people joining in. Thank you. Looks like I'm familiar names from all over and some new places already seeing.
Excellent.
Portugal, Florida, Minnesota.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't. I've got
We
nobody.
got 3 countries that right there already.
Nobody's really told me where they're coming in from. Oh, Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Is that what WI is?
It is.
Moncton, New Brunswick. So we've got 2 countries so far.
I count Florida as its own country. That wasn't a typo. Thank you. Phoenix. I will be in
Maine.
Phoenix on Saturday.
Oh, you're going to Phoenix. What are you doing in Arizona?
I'm picking up an exotic animal.
Oh, from Carol.
Why is it? It says Matt. I can hear Matt, but I can't hear Matt. Okay,
No.
well, remember when I said your audio was working?
Yeah, I guess it's not. I know it's
I
working
fixed
for
it.
me and everybody on this channel. Can't hear Matt on Harley's
Well, you-
feed. It's amazing that people
I
are
fixed it.
commenting on my feed. And
So,
they must be watching
I found
both.
that some people both. Yes.
Wow.
But I fixed it now.
Okay.
I went back to the old setup. We thought we had it fixed on the other one, but
Bavaria, Germany.
I got Argentina.
Philippines. All right.
Someone up Norway. Someone up on the Rubicon where I just was.
Oh, no kidding. We've got some Australians, Aussies in the building. This is great. What a nice worldwide crowd.
Yes. Always nice.
Yeah.
It's a good way to spend a Wednesday.
Oh, man. Tell me about it.
For only a couple more weeks, though.
What? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. I almost
Because
forgot about what we're
Once we
actually
start
doing.
Monthly Mayhem.
Right. This becomes...
Man.
This slot gets filled.
It does.
That's what she said.
Yeah, he's like, Beavis likes to love the slots.
Love the slots. Oh, what do you... is that some of your flavored water beverage?
This is Waterloo, though.
Waterloo.
The Whole Foods brand of
Oh.
sparkling water.
I'm much more of
I still prefer bubbly.
I'm much more of a Trader Joe's kind of guy, I think.
Trader's Joe.
Traitorous Joe. They've got this product there that I've never seen anywhere else. And it sounds like something nobody would want. But it's the partially cracked popcorn kernels. Like, you know, the ones that, like, they pop a little bit
Oh, I get it.
and they're, like, really
I'm just-
crunchy and delicious. Oh, wow.
No,
Yes. Those are my favorite.
that's-
That's my favorite part.
that's wasted popcorn.
Well, but they've packaged it and sell it to me. So it's not wasted at all.
Do you like the other half of sunflower seeds? Because if so, I've got a deal to make you.
The other half. Oh, like the husk?
Yeah.
Well, there was a time in my youth when that's all I ate. I ate the whole thing. I just put the whole thing in my mouth.
Yeah, oh God, that's what I was gonna guess. I'm like, you're one of those guys who just put some in there and chew them until they were gone.
Yeah. Yeah. It is
I don't
it is a thing
I don't
and
know
it's
that
not
I've ever
insane.
been in a Trader Joe's. But now, knowing that they're of the type to try and sell you half-assed popcorn, I'm out.
You can buy $3 wine there.
That's $3. Yeah, I thought it was $2. $2 chuck.
$2 chuck, yeah.
Oh, get a Canadian
conversion. Well, we don't. Yes, that's it. So we have a guest tonight again.
We do.
Chris Robinson from GCM Racing. Heck of a guy. Very, very big in the tiny truck world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Very. I was trying trying to follow your
You had a hard time with that one.
right. Now you get it.
Okay.
So I'm trying to fix your audio delay for some reason that exists.
All right.
But
Yeah, I think there's generally always a delay with you.
yeah, it's just how things go. But yeah, it's so I mean, I guess I've ran into Chris a number of times.
You might have met him at such events as the G6 that you went to.
Yeah, saw him up in Canada in his backyard, since he is a fellow Canadian like yourself.
Correct.
And then let's see, we had I saw him at RC Four Wheel Drive on the East Coast in 15.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see, and then yeah, a number of other times. He goes everywhere.
He does. He travels a lot with his partner in crime, Dana.
Correct.
Yes, who is quite the builder himself. But those two, kind of run GCM for the most part. And if you're not familiar with GCM Racing .ca, I think they also have tinytrucks.com, which is their US end of things. But they manufacture kits that are really ultra super scale and make some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, we really couldn't have somebody who was more opposite from myself on tonight.
That's correct.
He's very scale. That scale over everything.
Yep.
He's also nice.
Helpful. How many other?
Well spoken.
Yeah.
Probably a good dresser.
Although he does love Crocs, so you have that.
Note, check that box.
Is that a thing in common or a thing that is a negative?
Nope.
You do not like Crocs.
Nope. Not a Croc. We're finding all of them.
You're not a Croc jock.
I'm definitely not with that either.
You're not a Croc
none
jockey.
Of these things.
All right. Well, whatever. I mean, that's fine. I don't have Crocs either. That's never been a thing for me. But we'll ask him about his Crocs when we bring him in. We just wanted to do some house cleaning first and see how you were doing, because I haven't really. I mean, we chat a lot, but you're here.
Yeah, never about anything pertinent.
No, it's not like how's the family.
Not like any preparation to the stream or anything
gosh.
like
we rarely ever
talk.
Yeah, it's mostly just garbage. Trash between the two of us, really.
We're gonna have to find out with all of his travel. This was a great little comment that just popped up. We're gonna have to find out if he is a hotel dresser user or not.
Oh yes, that's true. Because I don't want to feel like I'm crazy, because I'm not.
Right.
It doesn't. I think I got a lot of people who actually backed me up in this stream that said
they must have only been in your stream because everybody over here knew you were crazy.
How is that not a thing? If you're there for more than 2 or 3 days,
that's your cutoff. 2 or 3 days.
Well, yeah. Okay, this is crazy. This conversation again. People are going to turn this off.
I know they should for your comment. Dresser in a hotel room is there only to hold a TV. Thank you. Good night. Thanks for joining us, guys. I appreciate it.
Really great night. Thanks, everybody. Much appreciated. Making me feel like I'm some sort of crazy person for using a dresser. It's not like people poop in there. Anyway, let's bring them in, because we could literally talk about this forever.
Yes.
I'm going to try to bring him in right now. See if he's paying attention. Calling. Oh,
yes. Perfect.
I think he's coming in. There he is. Of course,
all right.
I don't know why, but every time this screws up the Hey, there you are. Hello.
What's up?
I'm going to cut over to you here. There we go. Excellent. For whatever reason, Josh is frozen, so that's perfect.
Oh, that's always super super helpful. I'm not frozen on my side, at least.
I can hear you.
West Coast problem.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I'm going to adjust here and see if we can't get him fixed, because clearly this is horrible. But Chris, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really awesome to have you here. Why don't you say who you are and talk to the people a little bit? And
yes, I'm trying to just make sure that I can, because right now I can't see him. That's very helpful on my side.
That's not good. You should definitely fix that. Go ahead, Chris.
So I'll start with the Queen wave, because I'm Canadian, right? You see, so gotta give my thing to the Queen.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, A? What's up, everybody?
Wow, you're so much more Canadian than I am.
Yeah, well, this is so cool. I actually just watched you guys, banter back and forth for the last 5 minutes. It was super funny.
What a waste of time, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, well, I was going to turn it off, and then I remembered, oh, wait, I'm supposed to be on.
Right. Oh, that's my job next.
Yeah.
Right.
To entertain.
That's entertainment.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Without saying what happened, or where you were, or what any of these things, any reason why you weren't allowed out. What I wanted to kind of get into is where have you been, and why were you in quarantine?
Oh.
This is a pretty solid question, actually. So, I'm pretty sure all your readership who knows about GCM already knows that we travel. And we, a couple of years ago, we bought this little RV to help us in our travels. So when we go to places like Beat the Creek, we don't have to sleep actually on the grass in the field. We can actually just sleep in the RV.
Right.
Yeah, it's a serious upgrade.
It's a lot better than the minivan, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Actually, I slept in the minivan at Beat the Creek the first year that I went because I wanted to check it out, and it was on the way for a different event. So, but yeah. So I went to the south where the RV stays for the winter because it's smart. So I went back down to the south to pick it up and bring it back to Canada.
Right. Now.
So, and I think that was like 4 weeks ago, almost 4 weeks ago. So when I got back into Canada, they were like, whoa, you might be dangerous to Canadians. We need to make sure you stay in isolation. Right. Actually, I got out of isolation yesterday. So I kind of feel like a brand new person. Like I've had 2 days of the real world.
Yeah, you can actually talk to and see your children and wife now instead of living in the garage.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I did. Yeah. I actually lived in the garage. Like this house has 2 buildings on it, on the property. And in the back of my office is a huge apartment. So I just stayed in there. I mean, it wasn't really that difficult.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I can almost think of reasons to try and pull that trick.
Yeah. Now, but this is the interesting question for me. First of all, I mean, leaving Canada, that's no problem. There's not like a border check. You just leave. And then when you got to the U.S. side, they were probably like, sure, go ahead and go get your RV, right?
That's totally not what happened.
Oh, okay. All right.
So if you try to drive to America, they have a whole bunch of people like literally on the Canadian side. There's U.S. officials and they're like, no, you're not coming.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're a commercial truck or you have a green card, you're not coming.
Got it. Okay.
Wow.
So they're turning people away before they even drive to the border.
Copy that. Okay.
So, but somebody forgot that there's airplanes. Because, like, I literally just went online on American Airlines. I bought a ticket out of my own city, right to Tampa, and then I got on the plane and left.
Wow.
I'm not kidding.
That's crazy. Okay. That changes the story a little bit for sure. But anyway, long story short, you got your RV, you drove it home, and now you're just finished your quarantine. So welcome back to this
the real
this
world
anyway.
I know. Yeah, I'm so excited. And Dana was off his night shift last week, and we were going to go for a crawl and do a whole bunch of videos, except that because now the weather's awesome over here. And I was like, Yeah, well, thanks for the offer, but I can't even leave my house
Man.
for another week.
That's brutal.
Super depressing.
But you're out now. You've got lots of great tiny trucks behind you there. If you watch his channel, if you watch Chris's channel, you're very familiar with that background, as that's where most of the trucks live.
Yeah, and I know there's a few people in here who've said, and I had a little bit of an audio issue again when we switched to this interview one, Matt. So we cut off a little bit of Chris's just big picture background on what, your GCM in general. Like,
yeah, why don't we talk a little bit about your company? We'll give you the floor.
Cool. So we started in 2007. It's a funny story because like I was doing monster trucks. Who wasn't doing monster trucks in like 2007? Like everybody, right? And right around that time, I think it was 05, 06, the AX10 came out, and then the SCX10 #1 came out. And I thought, like, this would be the coolest thing if we could take this AX10 and, like, turn it into an actual truck that didn't have these weird angle shock things and whatever. So we started making aluminum plate frames that actually looked like a truck frame, and you could stick all your AX10 parts on it. And that was my introduction to crawling / maybe scale trucking. But I look back on some of my early photos from 2007, and it was that, that Walmart New Bright Jeep that everybody had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And it was on those huge 2.2s from the Scorpion. And it was super jacked up. It looked like it was on 60s, like, you know what I mean? And I was like, this is so scale. I was like freaking out. I remember how incredible that was.
It
back
looks
then.
just like my real one.
It's exactly, like how we thought, a body should sit on. But the other thing, I mean, we had no tire options.
No.
Granted, looking back, it's like, okay, we still could have done way better than we were doing then. But, it's like, when there's the axle, the servo completely in view, you know, another couple inches, then there's a bumper. Like,
right.
Maybe we could have brought that
Every
in, but
truck back then had Hummer wheels off the Tamiya model kit. Every single one.
Yes. Yeah. That was
late.
That was if you were actually trying. Those were getting pretty scale even.
Yeah.
I mean, those were a terrible tire. But the Tamiya high lift tires were a little bit more common. But before those, there was actually a Walmart toy that you could get that came in when I mean a toy, it was one tire. It was like a tire was a toy.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember exactly what it was. I'll have to find it. But we were going to Walmart and buying this like kid's toy that had a tire on it. But it actually had like a hex on the back. Like, I'm sure it was going to be made for something. And they just like let's just package this itself. It's like
Sorry.
Looked more like a dog chew toy than anything. But
definitely getting off topic.
Yeah, we spent... In 2007, we spent most of our time like roaming through toy stores and Walmarts and literally scavenging anything that could be used on a scale truck.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Those are the days.
That was fun. That was like a second line hobby right there.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Totally.
And you'd call your buddies and you'd be like, they have 7 Jeeps at this Walmart.
And then some enterprising person would buy all of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was great.
I was that guy.
Yeah,
I would go
definitely. At one point, I think I had 4.
And I wouldn't even necessarily I didn't even resell them for more. But it was just like the Walmart by my house had 4, and I was like, well, I'm going to buy all these, and then post up, on the forums, like, hey,
who wants a Jeep body?
Do you guys need a Jeep body? Because there was, what was it? The first Jeep body was a fast lane RC. Do you remember that one? The first JK body.
Yes.
And they were all that puke green color.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It was smaller than everything else. So you had to get you had to narrow TLT axles to fit it.
Yeah, they were too small. I remember they were quite a bit too small. And we couldn't even fit them properly on the little Tamiyas and stuff either, like the CC01s. Like they were even the wrong size for those. It was just, they were wrong, man.
Yeah, nothing was right. That's for sure.
So before I had my office in this building, this was just a big empty piece of concrete when we first moved in here. So my buddy Aaron and I took this old piece of carpet, and we actually just threw it over top of all the boxes that were on the floor, and it made this like rolling mountainscape to crawl on. And we were, of course, winter's horrible here, so we literally would just drive the cars around for hours on this carpet and like watch the suspension and just geek out, in this inside the shop. It was so much fun. Those were great days,
Yeah, that's those were. I mean, especially when we were more easily entertained than it seems that today we may be.
Yes.
Honestly, we're so spoiled now with so many of the things that.
Yeah.
It takes more to get us truly excited about a lot of it. But just how you could sit, and some of that stuff today still will get it. If you get with some good friends or even by yourself, out
Totally.
on just you get the right place to go run your truck, and like you can sit in one spot, and I can still just be super content trying.
Totally.
Yep.
And,
Spend an hour on the same little tiny obstacle. But essentially then, Chris, you kind of parlayed this early fascination into a company that actually makes full kits. So what was the transition for you?
Well, we started making monster truck frames because monster trucks sucked. And I was like, we have to find a way to like fix the center of gravity on these things and actually make them turn a corner.
Right.
So that was the first like foray into, hey, let's use the machine shop for something other than, industrial machining. And then it turned into this, fixing AX10 frames parts onto an actual truck frame. And then while Aaron and I were crawling around in the garage one night, we were like, hey, why can't we just put the transmission in the front like a real truck?
Right.
Like there's got to be a way to do that. So then the cardboard came out,
yes.
and we started figuring it all out. And then we moved the AX10 frame, transmission and motor all the way in the front, and we stuck it on a Cross Canyon chassis. So and then we were like, oh man, we need a transfer case. And then it just started going. Like it was literally this giant snowball. And so it turned out that the actual company, when it was formed, it was really like Driveline Solutions. That's the core. So the core is like, move the motor to the front. That was the first thing we were all about in like the middle 2000s. It was like, let's get the motor where it's supposed to be so we can put a proper interior in it, and that just opened the door for all this other stuff. And then from that came like transfer cases. It came into, well, maybe we should like make some better axle housings for AX10. And then maybe it was like, okay, well, we need leaf springs. I mean, Josh has been begging for leaf springs, so we need leaf springs on everything. So then we made mounts for leaf springs to go on AX10 axles, right? And then it was like, well, we need an actual frame that fits these leaf springs properly, with the motor in the front, all AX10 parts, so then the 410 happened. And then I realized to myself, like, hey, wait a minute. This is all just like conversion stuff. Why don't we actually just make a ground up, completely top to bottom chassis, axles, design some suspension parts that actually look like suspension parts, and then see where that goes. And that was a couple years developing what we call the C-Max. And now we have the C-Max with 14 different authentic suspension setups on it. And it fits all these different bodies. It's the same rail, but then the wheelbase is adjustable. You can move the transmission and transfer case forward and aft to match the firewall. There's all this stuff that actually makes it fit into, one of these kinds of trucks. Like this is a regular C-Max, but it's an authentic James Duff licensed radius arm suspension with rubber diamond bushings in the axle housing and the whole bit. Like, I mean, it is actually authentic, but it's the same frame that's on the Rover right here.
Right.
And that actually has a solid I-beam front radius arm suspension that's meant for a Rover with the proper, pillow captures and the whole bit. Like that's
what I've got.
So
on
it's the
mine.
same frame, right? Yeah, I mean, we took the driveline solutions is like the core, and then it goes into like frames for that, and mount kits for that, and then axles for that, and then maybe some wheels for that, and then body mount kits for that, and it just grows from there. But the core is really the driveline.
Yeah, and it's such a cool, thing to see how much of that you've come from. Just because if you look at other areas, even within what some people sell as a scale chassis, and even if it has a driveline solution of their own design, everything else is thrown out the window. Like link, fan hard mount, body mount, figure it out. Dummy.
Yeah, that's for you to worry about.
Like that's some old stuff. We're onto some new stuff. Like we're on a new version already. Like
I'll tell you what really opened the door to some of those periphery items. It was the 3D printing world finally coming into the consumer market. Like that has changed everything.
Yes, it really has.
I know both you guys have used that, extensively.
Yeah, as often as possible in a lot of cases. I mean, there's nothing better than building with styrene, but sometimes it's just faster and more accurate to do it in a 3D printing environment. And you guys really kind of embrace that too, because most of your chassis components, whether it be like the battery tray or the body mounting solutions, those are all 3D printed.
Yeah, we use that a lot. And it's also nice that the consumer who's making something unique with our chassis can then just think to themselves, oh, hey, well, maybe I can just 3D print my own, whatever battery tray or my own side skids or my own. And so it kind of allows people to get outside of their own creativity box and try something new. I've really enjoyed seeing 3D printing come alive. I think it's a really cool add-on to RC.
Yeah, I was very skeptical at first, but I'm glad that it's become as big as it is.
And I think that, I love 3D printing as well, and I think that we all, or me at least, I think I like it for some different reasons than you guys. I do use it for some, like parts that stay in a truck or for things like that. But I personally try to use it for tooling and maybe a prototyping more so than I do for like a detail or a finished part as much. But it's so great for anything just because it's capabilities that you wouldn't so easily. I mean, you're a machinist, full on machinist, but you still completely embrace the speed and the cost effectiveness that 3D printing has brought to us. It's just
there's no better way to
it has
prototype.
Clear advantages. And there's no end to ways that you can also use 3D printing. It's just it opens up so many doors in so many ways.
Yeah, I think that
when you move into the nylon and stuff like the Shapeways nylon, the strength and quality of that product, and to me it's way better than I thought it was going to be. And I mean, we've been using nylon Shapeways 3D printed truck axle housings since 2014.
Yep.
And just beating the tar out of them. And I think they're incredibly reliable. Like we've had a lot of success with those, and you can make them look cool. And because of those, we've been able to do things like radius arm suspensions of different varieties and coil buckets and all kinds of cool stuff that's otherwise quite difficult to put onto an axle. If you take an SCX2 axle or whatever, it's a regular off-the-shelf axle and try to modify it to an accurate suspension, you're into some serious fab.
Yeah, exactly. And the lead time on stuff like that actually happening is way longer than it is if you could just 3D print a part and get it done.
Yeah, and in most RC applications in the scale side of things, where we don't have the high speed and the banging around, you can get away with even a lot of like home print stuff.
Yeah, you can.
In a semi-structural environment, and nobody would even know it was there.
100%. One thing I wanted to kind of touch on really quickly is that you guys were thinking about front-mounted motors and divorce transfer cases a long time before any of the major manufacturers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is sort of, You know, and I mean, it was always kind of from a desire to get more and more scale accurate, but this was something you guys were doing like 5-6 years before anybody else. So why do you think that's the case? Like, what do you think was the thing that was preventing everybody else from doing it? If that's where the market was eventually going to go, what took everybody else so long to get to that point?
I got to make a guess on that, but for the most part, I think it's going to come down to manufacturing ability. So, because we actually make our stuff.
Right.
Like 98% of the stuff that we sell, we make it in-house. So that means when it came to doing motor mount, a forward motor mount for an SEX 10, which we put out, I think, in 2009 or 10, I think, we literally just tried and tried and tried again. It was way before 3D printing. So I made like 10 different varieties of raw aluminum ones until I got one that I was really happy with, and the servos actually fit. You know, right. Dual servo mount in the front. It actually worked. Like I built that whole big video build series on the Dingo back then, and had that whole truck built with the forward motor mount. And I mean, it still had that fake half interior thing that was molded into the Lexan shell, but the interior room was all there if you actually wanted it, you know? So it gave a different kind of a platform to the custom builders to take our parts and put them on an SEX 10 frame and actually be able to turn the truck into something way more.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I remember seeing the forward motor mount for the first time. Actually, it was like one of my friends in Kansas City had bought it for his hard body Jeep build, and it was a God, I can't even remember. That had to be 2009 or so. Yeah. And it was like it was just the whole transmission move, because some people had moved the transmission and everything up front with like what was it, the GD 600?
Oh,
the airplane gear reduction unit that they would try and put up front.
Yeah, and then there was a divorced kit that Matt put out from Dinky RC at one point that had half the gears in the front and then an extra few gears in the back, and it was kind of like a half transfer case, half motor mount. You know, the Toyzuki had one that was you know, a couple of different varieties of those as well. So I think people have been doing it in different forms, but you know, maybe we were able to put a push on it maybe in the early days because we could make all this stuff ourselves and actually put out a high quality product like right from the go.
Right.
And I think it was one of those situations where, like so many of the other things, you know, is there wasn't really complete packages available.
That's true.
No. People had done it, but there was, you know, it was, oh, you can use this GD 600 and figure out a way to mount it. And then, you know, like a Toyzuki, it's like, here's the motor mount up front, and then you got to connect them. And I mean, I remember doing that, building one of those in like I did it with my deadbolt budget build for the first time. That had to be like 2013 or so. But it was still like, you get this mount, which was nice. But you had to cut down a top shaft. You had to make a jack shaft to go between that mount and the transmission. It's like there was still things left open. And it's like so many times you see it, you know, they come from builders so often. You know, it's just like, I had this idea and I was able to make this work because I'm a builder.
Right.
Right.
So many people are in an apartment and they have maybe a Dremel, possibly a drill, you know, definitely a body reamer.
Well, you're right, though. And, you know, one of the things that we've been able to do for years and years is actually see what the community is doing with our product and take the feedback and make adjustments to the product as we go, because we're not sourcing the product out. So, you know, we had eventually people would, I had enough complaints about the transfer case set screws coming loose on the main gears inside the transfer case that I finally figured out most people can't do more than like 5 freaking inch-pounds on their wrist. They simply don't know how to tighten a freaking set screw. So if they can't figure it out, I'm going to have to change the way this is made. Okay. Like I still have my one of my original Cross Canyon Jeeps. I still have right here. We've been using it for FPV at our events for years. And it has a 2007 transfer case in it that's never been apart.
So obviously you know how to make stuff work.
Right. Well,
and tighten the set screw.
well, part of the reason is that those guys are using a worn out IKEA wrench that's got like
It's
a
so
built-in
true.
slipper. It's just they try and tighten
That's
it. It just
tight
clicks.
enough.
It's like, oh, it's tight enough. This is my torque wrench.
It's so true. That is so true. And I just actually the other day when I was cleaning, because I had nothing to do for 2 weeks, so I was over there cleaning a bunch of stuff on my messy bench, and I actually found this drawer in my screw drawers, and it said hex wrenches on it, and it was full of those like little tiny hex wrenches that I had ripped the ends off them how many years ago. I haven't used those forever. Like I actually have nice drivers now, that work.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so much better.
I had this one on my bench because I needed to adjust the tension on one of my dual monitor stands here. I just looked over and I went, I know why some of those people don't have like I remember building with that Rubbermaid tote of worn out hex wrenches that you only needed like 3 sizes, but for some reason you had 45 wrenches in there. And there was only 3 that were the right size. The rest
I
of them were
remember
just
getting
all
my
wrong.
first kit that had hex hardware in it. And I was like, oh no. Well, I guess I'm going to have to go buy a kit. And then I did. And I still have it because it is one of those things where you're like, maybe I'll use this again sometime. But I got it at a convenience store. And it's got,
Wow.
what's it got? Slotted, Torx, Phillips, and hex 1.5 to 2.5.
Wow.
That's what? I'm surprised that you had it in such good
There's
condition.
2 missing.
Like, I remember I bought my first set was was an Intigy set. When it was so popular at the time, everybody had, it was and that was the other thing. It was like when I didn't know screw sizes. I knew that looks like the green.
Yep.
That looks like a purple. That looks like I didn't like 1.5, 2. Like, no, this is a 3mm screw. It's like, yeah, but what is the Rex hench? I'm like, I don't know. It's a 3mm screw. It's probably a green.
And you're like, you're out on the trail, and you're like, has anybody got a green wrench? Need a green one over here.
Yeah. Who's got a green? What about a silver T wrench? Like,
That's so funny.
didn't know what anything was called. Oh god. And then Moose Jaw, like, talking about dad's tools will never disappear. Like, I remember my dad always asking, like, where's the hammer? Like, you had it last, right? All right, you had it. You were here, so just don't worry, it's probably over there. Like,
Yeah.
nothing ever got put back.
At our farm there, when I was growing up, it was always the taps, okay? Like, I had this obsession with trying to make a tap go through something it shouldn't.
Okay.
Like, I'm serious. And if it was like, because I didn't know anything about having the right hole size, right? I was like, well, this thing makes threads. You should just be able to jam this in here somehow. Like, if I can't do it with the actual, like, hand T-wrench, I would put it in a huge drill and then try shoving it through, like, with no lubrication or cutting fluid or anything, like, through a piece of 3/8 plate, right? And it's like a 3/16 tiny tap, right? It's a little tiny tap. And I'm like, it's spinning like a drill bit right now, and it's like, and it still won't go in, so I'm pushing with all my might, and eventually I break it off, and then you get that call, like, out of the drive shed, like, 2 weeks later. It's like, hey, do you know anything about this tap? No, I don't know. Yeah, of course I did.
That actually is very reminiscent of Adam Savage's book from, Mythbusters. He was very much like you, Chris, where he would try stuff like that, not really pay attention to the rules well, not rules, but kind of the instructional sort of idea of how to use something, and he would just smash through stuff just like you. So clearly you're both in the same league of extraordinary genius builders.
Right.
Well, the try and try again is definitely something that we do a lot over here. Oh,
and, good quality products to show for it. I mean, my Range Rover, despite being on the bench for over a year, is almost done. So next time I see you, I'll actually bring it out and we'll play with our Range Rovers.
My Range Rover is very sad because I got it all built, and then basically the whole world went to crap. So I was supposed to put hundreds of hours of wheel time on that this year, and it's just been sitting. Like, I mean, I've driven it 10 minutes, and it's done. Like, I mean, it is 100% interior engine bay. I'm so bad with finishing trucks, so this is amazing that it's actually done. But it's, like, done, and I can't drive it.
Yeah, I think we're all sort of in that boat.
So, this kind of brings it to a quick. You were talking about putting so many hours on it because, you know, at events or going out wherever you go, I assume. Yeah. What is your, what's your kind of driving style or schedule, event style? Do you compete much, or are you a true to scale, just like to put the hours on the trail, get the good pictures and do more videos like you guys do? Like where do you, or do you try and spread it out?
That's a pretty solid question. I would say when we go to an event, we like to participate with whatever is happening there. So you go to East Coast Scale Challenge, like I'm never going to be like a high-end competitive driver, and I don't think I'm building trucks that are very competitive either. But I do have a Class 2 trophy for third place from East Coast Scale Challenge. Impressive. So that's impressive for me, because I don't expect that class. Yeah, I don't expect that I'm really a high-end driver. So that's impressive. And I've got a bunch of little trophies and stuff to win from show and shines and things like that, where I think we probably have more of our energy spent. But for the most part, if we go to an event that has classes, we'll build a truck that fits into the classes of the place that we go, and then we'll do our best and have a great time and promote it to whoever's going to watch. So when we run events, we do something completely different, because the most feedback that we get from people when we go out to other events is everybody had a great time. We all loved this. It was great to see everyone. I wish I could have spent more time on the trail with my truck. Or I wish I could have spent less time waiting in a lineup. Or I wish I could have spent, you know what I mean? I didn't have enough time to do all the events. It's that sort of thing. So when we run an event that's a GCM title sponsor, we actually go ourselves. Someone from our team will run the thing, and we try to get people the most miles per hour that they could possibly get. Whatever that is. Like, sometimes we have to put up a vintage buggy track or do something like that to just, because it's, you know, we can fill in some gaps in the schedule with that. Sometimes it's like some winch challenges. Sometimes it's like truck repairs on trail. Like, at this point of the trail, you have to use your spare tire. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's just fun stuff like that you can do that really get people engaged in the hobby on the trail, and not so much just on the bench. But when you talk about where we actually try to put our attention, we try to put our attention 100% on rewarding the modeler in the scale hobby. That's where we definitely put our focus. So we try to sponsor events on the gallery side. We give out trophies and stuff, and we send people to events to actually, you know, try to coach people and pick winners, people that are obviously putting like hundreds of hours and sweat and tears into a build, and they're not going to take it out and compete with it, and they're not going to try to make it competitive, but they're building something that's hyper realistic. And so we've tried to create this atmosphere for the RC hobbyists where they can feel rewarded for that bench effort. That's definitely been a big focus for us.
I think that's the so many areas of RC always get super focused on something, and it kind of takes it down what some would say is a negative path, and you know, it can make a popularity of a segment really fall. But
sure,
I think that you know, the side of it that you're just talking about there, and the focus on what's, you know, even if you wanted to get down to the definition of what scale is, like how you guys keep that the focus, that's what kind of keeps this segment of the hobby so enjoyable. And I think we'll continue to keep it popular compared to all these other areas of racing or even scale comp crawling that are going to find a peak
Yep.
and fall down when people have pushed things to the point where it doesn't resemble what the
there's
initial
a real
goal
benefit
was.
to
But
what Chris is doing, because there are so many people who just know that the competitive nature of actually going through gates and wrecking your truck in most cases that you've spent hours on, hundreds of hours on, that's not for them. But they still want to go, and they still want to participate in the community as a whole, and giving them that outlet is really fantastic. And I've been to a lot of GCM title sponsor events, and there is still plenty of opportunity to wreck your truck if you so choose, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I don't have to be at an event to wreck my truck. Like,
Right. I can do that anytime I want. It's pretty
anytime
easy.
you want. Like, I'm pretty good at it.
Matt's talking about bending leaf springs, so I'm not sure you're familiar with that.
I guess we're both at different levels of what it's going to take.
Yeah, exactly.
To wreck a truck. Like, Matt's like, I extra chipped my paint. I spent so many hours getting the chipping just right, and now
it's funny you mentioned that, because I took out the jelly bean and I rolled it a couple of times, and I was like, oh, I can't see it. Great, perfect. This is the perfect paint job for that truck. But it really is a special thing to be rewarded for your efforts. And the concourse events at a lot of scale comps is sort of like, it's, if that's not really what they're meant for, right? When you go to a true comp, it's mostly about the driving, and that's totally fine, and I can appreciate that. But it's so great to go to an event like a GCM run event where it's like, it's mostly about how good the trucks look. So that for me is really, really exciting. There are still hours of courses and hours of trails and gates to go through, and also all kinds of bonus gates. And one of the best things that I've seen is like the bell ringing gates. Josh, have you ever done anything like that?
No.
Oh man, those
I
are
don't
the
think
best.
so.
Oh, that's fun.
I already like.
Imagine
the
a
idea.
bell on a string
It's cool.
being held up, so it's like, hanging in midair on an obstacle, but like a really complicated, difficult to get to obstacle, and you got to ring the bell with your truck.
I
With
like
your
it.
truck.
Yeah. You don't just go over and ring it.
Right. I have to imagine, like, that's there's probably not as many people there running 4S.
I think you'd be surprised. I think you'd be surprised.
Then I think the bell ringing. I'm in for this. Like, any chance
Like
to jump a
Over
truck.
here at GCM, we can only count to 3. So
I've watched plenty of the looking tight into your guys' rigs and all that. That's, you guys have. It is cool to see just the difference in things. I can appreciate what you guys do.
You can't do it.
I can't. I can't find my way around a paint paintbrush. What do you guys use to paint things? Like,
Come on,
it's 5S. You need 5S
get one
for
of
paint.
these.
God, I can there that
Oh,
thing.
that's fancy, that
One of
thing.
those,
Or
one of
any
those
one
air
of the
powered.
cans back there will do it too. Josh,
What's up?
more used to his cheap brush, I guess.
Right. But just the difference. You guys use a pretty modest servo ESC motor combo that's just slow and smooth and gets the job done. And I can't remember what. God, it was maybe an interview a couple years ago where you and Dana, I think, were on talking with somebody, and he was just you guys were talking about there's no reason to spend more than $20 or $30 on a servo. Like that gets the job done. Like,
This is so true.
Josh is like sweating. He's like questioning everything. He's like, oh man, I've been doing this. Maybe I'm doing this wrong.
So funny.
I just don't understand.
No, I mean, we're used to completely powering and driving a truck for $100.
Yeah, exactly.
Josh spends that.
I'm serious.
Josh spends that
it's
much
so
on
much
shipping.
actually, you know what? It actually does help to finish the trucks though, because you can start a whole new project and literally just throw $100 worth of stuff on it, and it works. It might not even be the way it's going to be forever, but it works, and you can take it out and play with it and frig around with it and change the setup, and it's like it's
I'm pretty
just so
sure Chris
easy
and
that way
Dana
to
are
me.
very well familiar with Mr. Mabushi.
Yeah. We've steered fast away from Tamiya silver cans, though, just so you know. No, I've actually done a serious upgrade now. I'm into these reedy. You want to talk about race motors? I'm into these reedy radon 5 slots now.
So smooth.
These are so cheap, and they're just awesome. That's my new favorite motors now.
Yeah, I had, when I was still running brushed, you know, like
back in 09.
Exactly, like then I had switched to 5-slot motors at that time, and I just remember I'm like, oh my god, I'm never running a 3-slot brushed motor again. Like
it's hard to go back.
Oh, they do them. Oh
yeah. Oh yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that we like to use, and I mean these aren't expensive, and they outlast like anything that we're ever going to build. So it's nice to have a really clean running motor that doesn't really break the bank. Yeah, it's great.
I can see the value in that, Chris, but I still don't really subscribe to it all that much.
Matt falls in the middle ground of, of this.
It's such a weird place for me to be. Usually I'm the super scale guy.
I know.
Matt's all about the steam powered now. He's abandoned electrics completely. You know, nitro crawlers.
Can you imagine
coming up?
What a messy, noisy, horribly bad torque experience that would be.
I used to fly nitro planes like constantly, and I mean the slop you'd have to carry around with those things, and then you'd hang them up in the basement or garage or whatever, and the next day there's like this pool of impenetrable oil that's on the floor.
Yeah, there's when Matt and I did our burnout challenge with the nitro cars.
Yeah.
I had ducted my exhaust into the area right with the wheels. And at the final video when I kicked Matt's ass, I had held. I just sat there and did a burnout, and it just kind of was rolling the whole way, maybe like 8 or 10 feet.
Yeah.
And when did we finish that, Matt?
Yeah,
October,
maybe late September.
There is still 2 marks outside of our shop on the pavement where that oil had come down and just I'm like, this is a little RC car burnout in front of our, and it gets trafficked every day by cars and trucks and garbage bin.
Yeah.
And like, man, I'm glad I don't play
I'm
this
also
stuff regularly.
really happy that
Isn't
I never
that
went
crazy?
back to the parking lot where I shot my final video, because I made a very big mess. It's like oil and tire goo everywhere. Just so gross.
Yeah, just.
This is a really good time.
Yes, Chris, you can say that again.
Oh, God.
We have it so good right now. It's so clean. It's so quiet. It's so easy. You can tune all your stuff. You can tune all, think about what we can do with even brushless now, right? You can get a 3500 kV brushless motor that crawls like a brushed, like one of these. That's crazy to me. It's so cool.
Yeah, or you can pull out your phone and program your truck with this,
Yeah,
nutty.
Yeah, you can adjust the switching frequency and I know the brush motors, they're a little bit easier on that end. It really is incredible, and just kind of like what you said before, the scale side, the options that are available. I do miss slightly, only very slightly, the scavenging days. This could be made into something that looks similar to what a fire extinguisher may resemble if you squinted really hard. And
I've still got some of the first accessories I ever made when I was doing that. It's like, oh man, How am I gonna make a good-looking jerry can? This is I'm gonna blow your minds with this styrene magic.
Matt complains about space in his studio all the time, yet he has a tool set that he hasn't used in 10 years, and he's got a jerry can, probably made from some sort of memory foam pillow here.
That's a jerry can.
Wow. Did you melt jelly cans?
It's solid styrene. I laminated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces of styrene together. And then I put like a really super thin layer on the outside. I made this when I got my first like scale truck ages ago. Yeah.
Was that the Tundra?
So the Tamiya High Lift, I was like, yes. They didn't have the Hilux in stock. I would have gotten that one. So anyway, I made that. That was one of the first scale accessories I ever made.
Wow.
I've learned a lot since then.
I mean, that gives everybody hope right there. Gives everybody
it's so
hope.
round.
Just think.
It's so round.
Pretty cool.
It looks like
it's not even horrible.
Yeah,
God, thanks, Chris.
Canadians
That's really
nice.
nice of you to say. This is horrible.
Okay, Josh, you can say it. You can say it. What is it?
That looks like I made it.
Then here's...
If I had some 2x4 laying around, painted it with my regular paintbrush.
And I took things to a new level.
Now, I was petrified of styrene.
I made this no, this is styrene again. I drilled all those holes. So this was taking it to a pretty extreme level for me back then. Anyway, I digress. Back to you, Chris. Felt like you were going to talk. Oh, right.
I was petrified of styrene till like 2 years ago. I mean, I used to make everything out of balsa and maple and everything, just carve it all.
I mean, it went along with the leaf spring trend, so just wood spoke the whole deal.
Yeah.
I drew the line on the leaf springs when people were starting to make them out of Delrin and stuff. I was like, okay, you don't put plastic here.
It's for more comping.
Yeah, do you remember the polycarbonate ones?
Polycarb. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Who made those? David Diaz. The Diaz leaf springs.
Yeah. My all-time favorite is the polycarbonate clear wheels. Do you remember those?
Oh, you mean the ones that were released today?
Oh man. New scale news update. Live updates.
Yep.
I'm talking years ago.
I know.
They were made out of lucite.
Somebody made these clear. Yeah. I was like, why are the wheels clear? Like, it was hard for me to understand that.
It's stuff. Do something different.
Yeah.
I draw the line on the plastic leaf springs. Like, I was like, okay, guys, I'm good with the leaf springs, but I'm not good with that.
Did you just send me a link, Josh?
I did.
In chat.
To both of you there.
Let's bring this up. I'm kind of curious to see it.
To the
I'm waiting to see it.
I sent that to you as well. I didn't want to just go to full screen share just because, but I
don't even know how to use a computer. God. So like, where is the chat? Oh, there's something.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that thing.
I would share it, but I don't want to make everyone else so distracted that they can.
Well, they have.
So you can see the.
They have a modular wheel set.
Yeah.
It's just the middle.
The rest of the other part of the wheel. It's the wheel face that's.
Guys, you can probably tell by my face that this is a really strange thing. I mean, it really lets you show off the disc rotor and brake rotor and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, look at how scale my wheel rotors are. Ah, crap.
Yikes.
Forgot about the face of the wheel, but everything behind it.
I don't know if I can't. I don't think I'm going to put it on screen.
I didn't.
You guys can go look for it.
So there's a couple of things where in scale building, there's a couple of times I've seen people like take it to the extreme. You know what I mean? And it might actually be technically functional or technically correct as far as the rule book goes for scale building on a Sorka class or something. But the fact is, you just don't go there.
And that is the one thing I've said. I'll give some of the rule guys. I'll toss some shit every once in a while, but the base of it, more than anyone, even in scale competition, they're pretty good at going to the spirit of the rule.
Yes.
You know,
Right.
Sometimes they're just like, okay, you showed up with an all clear truck, Ben, but and we'll let you play today, Ben, but don't be a dick next time.
Remember the one year at
So
East
funny.
Coast where I think he got hard body points and he got exo cage, but he had just glued like solder to the exterior of the truck body.
It was a soldered one-piece metal exo cage. He got points for that, but
that
it
was
just
Andy. I
soldered.
remember Andy doing that.
So
He did it as a joke.
Technically true. I think
Right.
Didn't he have
He
the
did,
cardboard
yeah, it was made out of
interior at some
cardboard.
point too? I think he did a cardboard interior.
And that was Andy who did
A
that?
friend of ours from the East Coast
Andy.
Scale Challenge. No,
Old Dog?
Andy
Or,
Irwin, I think his last name was.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
but man,
that's
And he does that just to
Totally.
be fun because he puts blood, sweat, and tears into that event every year in organizing and running it, and it's he just does this because the rules said you needed a metal cage.
yeah,
so.
it was the right gauge. Like he made the size of it was fine.
It was so funny.
I mean, that's even heavier than you really want. Like,
I know. I know.
okay, I guess I'll give it to you. Like,
Oh, it's so funny.
and you know what? It's like for an interior roll cage,
Not a
wouldn't even be
terrible idea.
like, you know what? No tools required, basically. Like,
I know.
it's not the worst thing.
Now it has to be mechanically fixed to things. I think that's how he got out of that. Or they
I think JP Weld counts though.
as a mechanical. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I know it counts in Ohio for the real trucks.
That's true.
Yeah, if it's good enough for the real one.
Yeah, it's like-
oh, you need me to use
See?
Flex
They just
Seal? 'Cause I'll
they
use
show a
Flex
picture
Seal.
of their truck and
Like,
go, see? And you're like, all right, fine.
Like, what are you saying?
Moose Jaw over here just said, no, you're giving Josh idea for scale points.
I'm a big fan of my actual welder. I feel like my TIG would burn through that solder too fast.
You know when this XLT hard body Bronco came out, this one here,
Uh-huh.
this
Yeah,
who
Team
makes
Bronco.
that? Raffi,
Yeah.
I think they branded
Yes.
it anyways. I was like, awesome! It's huge. It's meant for big tires. Got big wheel wells. I'm gonna build a big tire truck. I was so excited, and it turned into a Class 1. I mean, I had really high hopes for that project too, because I wanted to build another big truck. Like I haven't built a big tire truck in a long time, and they're an awful pile of fun to drive.
So
So, I mean, you can pretty much just go wherever
when you
you
say
want with
big
them.
tire, are you talking like
You know.
2.2 over 5 inch, or do you mean 1.9 4.2?
No, I'm talking like a big Class 2
Okay.
truck, like something with a
Okay.
475 on it, and
And I,
You know.
even I,
No,
even
I know.
figured
I
that's
just
what he
wanted to
meant.
know
Like,
what his gauge for
Yeah.
big tire was.
Yes. What is the largest tire you currently have mounted on any RC vehicle? Any.
That's
Even
a good
even-
question. Go ahead, Chris.
it's a pretty legit question.
I'm looking.
I actually need to look at the wall and see. I think it's a toss up between an original
Oh.
Pitbull Rock Beast, which is a
Oh.
445,
Right.
which I've had for probably since they were original, and I have on the Gen 8, I have a set of axial stalkers. Nitos, I think, are on that. I got it from Matt. It's it was your green
Oh,
belt.
the Red Cat?
It's
Yeah.
got that's my son's truck. And I think it might have the award for the largest tire on the wall.
Okay. Well, my bomber currently is in pieces, so there is not a large tire. What are the I've lost my words. What's the tire that I like? The comp tire? Hyrax. The 2.2 Hyrax would have been on the bomber.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't
2.2.
count. It's not even on a vehicle.
So,
And it's not a scale truck either. So, like, my cutoff is like after scale truck. I stop talking.
On the Ripper.
Like bomber, whatever, Yeti, stuff like this. We don't talk about those over here.
On the Ripper, I've got 2.2 Pitbull Growlers. Or not Growler.
Growlers.
No,
Those,
they're
are you sure they're not
Berserkers.
Berserkers?
I don't know. Yeah. Is
Okay,
that
so
5.5? That's a short 5.5.
Wow. That's a big tire.
It's a short 5.5.
Yeah. Okay. But
5.4, 5.5.
they're 5.2, I
5.2.
think. Because 5.5s are too big.
Yeah, that
for
sounds
me.
right. Yeah. So
That would be huge. Yeah.
I've actually got like monster trucks and things like this. I have my Outcast. I think that probably has my largest
It's like a
tire.
Oh, yeah.
40 series or whatever.
Well, I do have these. I have these J-Con monster truck tires.
Are those like the vintage style ones?
Yeah, these are the Repo or whatever they're, the Rangers.
Cool.
Yes.
And I just got my SCX3 kit because Matt loves Jeeps. So I've got my kit, and then when I got the kit out, I was like, this is the tire that comes in that kit.
Yeah, they're monsters.
Okay? Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does everybody see that's the same size as my head?
Okay, I will tell you.
I'm not doing.
Yes, it
There's
is a
no
big tire.
weird cameras. I'm not doing any weird camera stuff here. So I'm just saying, like, look how tall this tire is compared to this huge monster truck J-Con tire.
Look, they made it look like it's a 42-inch tire. And
I'm not gonna lie. I really like the tire that comes on the SCX.
Yeah, obviously you do.
No, listen, I love this tire. Like, having this in my hand, I'm realizing like it's actually soft. It has a pretty nice foam. I bet you this is a pretty good performing tire. The trouble is I can't find any truck that I would ever put this on. So my solution is going to be that I'm going to turn my SCX3 portal axles, I'm going to turn that into a J-Con monster truck. That's my solution.
Okay.
Because I realized that I absolutely have no idea what I would ever do with this giant tire. So if I put a bigger one on...
They're not that big.
So
these are huge, okay.
I had like 3 great questions that came in that I'd like to go. Your first one is, what does GCM stand for?
Oh, that's a good question.
Does Matt know? Or is this...
I do.
Oh, okay. It's just us then.
He just doesn't want to say it because he's
just
not
us
sure.
on this.
No, I'll let Chris answer. It's his his company.
I just wondered if this was one of those.
So
it's a secret
when I started the company, I was doing custom audio hardware for like show cars. I was making these huge sculpted aluminum machine panels for controls and nitrous switches and all this crazy stuff. I was making transmission parts for race cars and all this like automotive stuff. And so we called the company Generis Custom Metalworks. Generis is Latin for unique. All the stuff we were doing was basically one-offs. There was like really no production at all. And then we started doing some weird fiber optic stuff when the fiber optic Silicon Valley was big in Canada in the early 2000s, and that sort of increased the production side. And then when we started doing like monster trucks, well, then GCM Racing turned out.
Right. There you go.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I always remember your Generis, the name that I had originally known you by on RC Crawler back in the day.
Yeah, on the forums, yeah.
Yeah. That was, with your Canadian flag avatar.
Yep. Yeah.
Always consistent, right?
Yeah.
So that was that's good to know. I didn't actually ever know what Generis. I didn't know that the root of that, or where you.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
The other one is, Do you have, you held up your SCX 10.3 there. Do you have many or other at all Lexan body builds?
Another good question. We have a long-standing, ongoing, unfinished project for a local lady here on a original axial, I think it was an F100, AF100. You remember that thing?
CF100.
CF100. So I'm actually turning that, putting it on a C-Max with narrow axles and all this stuff, and it's actually getting turned into like an old school delivery truck. And so that's another Lexan project that I have on the go currently.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Personal
the
vehicle.
last...
Yeah. How many of
Pardon me?
your actual like owned trucks are Lexan?
Well, I believe I've done maybe 4 total.
Oh,
So I did a Vitera Blazer. You remember those?
yeah, oh yeah.
And Noob actually painted it. It was an M1009 military camo, green, black, brown.
Oh, that was okay. I remember that one.
Yeah, and that was a Vitera Ascender. And then I had finished quite a long time ago when we prototyped the C-Max. I did an old, what was the company that made the 49 Chevy 3100 panel truck?
Parma?
Parma made it.
Right.
And I had one of those up on the shelf for I don't know how many years. Like I'm talking a long time. And I turned that into a pretty legit scale truck. Like it had a full engine bay, full undercarriage,
Yeah,
complete
that's fun.
full
I
interior.
like that one a lot.
That was a really great truck. And not even East Coast Scale Challenge would let me run it in anything because it wasn't a hard body and it didn't have full fender coverage. So,
Yep.
I mean, it never got used in comp, but it was a super
No,
nice.
you
super
drove it a
fun
bunch
truck.
at that event though. I have video of that.
Yeah, and I actually put some serious miles on that. It was a lot of fun.
That also featured your scale transmission bell housing thing too.
Yeah, the whole transmission and the Married transfer case was debuted in that.
Yep. Very cool truck.
Yep, way back.
Does anybody on
Yeah.
my channel have any questions for Chris? By all means, post them in the chat window. I am monitoring it.
Yeah. While all the other, I have yet another great question, just because everyone who watches my chat is
Curious.
smarter and more interesting. But Chris, what's your favorite build that is not yours?
Oh, good question.
You only get to pick one. You have to pick a favorite. You have to hurt
Really?
somebody's You have to hurt someone's feelings. I'm doing that just because.
I mean, all
You're too
trucks
nice.
are really great. But
That's why exactly we're trying not to allow that.
pick one.
My all-time favorite truck is a Jeep, I think CJ, that Chris Middleton built in Western Canada.
Oh yeah, that is.
It was a long time
I
ago.
remember that one.
Old SCX1 axles on it. It was like, I went back and reread that thread and stared at those pictures. I can't tell you how many hours, because I got so much inspiration out of seeing that come together, and the way that he used really simple methods, really simple tubing, the right paint colors, the right interior trims, and it was just so clean and so simple. But when you looked at the pictures, you just couldn't believe how nice it was.
That was a really. I think it's still one of. It might actually be in the guild's finest. I think it's one of those builds.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, and I've since met him a couple times over in different events with him and stuff, and we've chin-wagged, and I've seen a bunch of his builds. We did a bunch of actually rig reviews with a couple of his newest ones last summer out in the West Coast, and I'm telling you, that guy is still a super high-end builder. It's really inspiring, actually.
Yep.
It's really cool to see.
He knocks them out pretty quick too, which is also amazing.
Right. Again, a simple plug for going on the forums like Scale Builders Guild, because you get so much information in a thread. You know, you got 15, 20, 30, 40 pages of just info and pictures and details and links, and wow.
But there's also at the same there's so many layers to that. Like you can find there's an art to people who are good at build threads. Like,
That's true.
because you have to be decent at taking a photo of like showing what you're actually trying to show, being a good builder, or not. I mean, just sometimes you don't even have to be a good builder to have a good build thread. Like there's just, it's like being a writer has a certain quality to it. But when you find a good build thread, like most of my favorite build threads are full size, because I spend a lot of my time on full size areas, like looking at how they do things and the way they would build a cage or build a this or that, and it's just like, oh, I like how they did. I'd love to try and mimic that style and things like that. But you find a good build, someone who's active is the other thing. You have to be dedicated to a project and update it, because that's a whole nother
problem. That's the thing.
Now
it is really a dying art, and I think that forums in general are being killed by things like Facebook, because there's this instant gratification of just showing a picture of a truck and getting likes and having it shared around and stuff, and that's great. That's really cool, but you don't get the same engagement that you do with a build thread, where you can answer people's questions, and it's threaded, so you can actually go back in time and say, oh well, that's how he did that. Okay, now I don't need to ask that question, because the answer's already there.
It's right there. You don't have to go to the old post in Instagram that's 9 posts back, and then that question was answered there, and 14 posts before that. But there's something about a good build thread, man.
Totally.
Oof.
I just thought of something that'd be really cool. If someone took a few minutes and actually went through like the old Crawl Canada posts and the old RCC and stuff, like way back, and then like take a build thread of somebody that literally made a truck out of nothing with TLT axles, and like post that on Facebook and say like, we used to do this,
exactly.
Like so many people have no idea where we came from.
Okay, boomer.
Dude, all those threads are still there. It's just a matter of like sorting by
really
old,
neat to see.
right? Sorting by oldest first and finding those old threads. We could do it.
Sort by replies and age, either of those. You find those good ones.
And then
there.
I would actually, I would just reply to those old threads and necro post. Bring them right back to the top.
Necro post. That's necro post.
My favorite thing to do.
You should reply with something that says like, "Oops, wrong
or just
post."
Nice truck, just nice truck.
Nice truck.
Humboldt EF wanted to know what's next for GCM Racing.
Good question.
And I obviously don't spoil
we have a couple of interesting projects that I'm working on right now, and we have always liked to take what's kind of current and going on in the industry and find ways that we can kind of create new things out of it. One of the things that I'm working on right now is an SCX2 and a Trail King mount kit to fit onto these things. So this is that famous China 4-door that's now out, and the doors actually close on them now. They did some changes to the molds on them, so that's kind of handy. And the trouble is that we still all use shock towers and stuff, and like when you get a typical kit, the shock towers are always in the way. And now, like with the Trail King, for instance, the transmission is kind of centered and in the front, and there's other kits that are like that now too. And so you can actually get the interior space you need for these hard bodies. And so I'm in the middle of developing a kit to just simply, you can home print the stuff if you want. There's no machining involved. It's just like, put this stuff on, the body will fit.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And Josh, like what you were saying, actually, there's a lot of guys out there that struggle with things like body mounting.
That's huge.
I get those comments all the time.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. And so people have asked us 100 times, like, well, I really want to use this, FJ69, which I guess they call it a LC70 now. The boom one.
Yeah.
I want to use that, and I want to put it on your chassis. Like, what do I do? And I just say, like, here's the mount kit.
Yeah.
Like, here
Print
you
this
go.
out.
Here's all the files. Because that's a real game changer for people. They just stop dead when the project doesn't have that sort of simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on that, and we have I've got a couple ideas for this SCX3. I'm going to try to finish the kit and see if I can plug some new stuff into that
Right.
too. I'm not really sold on this whole thing. I just don't know what to think
yeah.
of these.
You know what? The whole I don't think we needed much of it. We would probably be able to tell just your affinity for portals on non-originally portaled vehicles.
Yeah. I can't wait until they have that straight axle. I'm with you on that one, Chris.
So that'll be nice too, because they're going to have to keep it as an offset front, right? Because
Yes.
now they've got the guts all in the way of the center drive shaft. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah. No,
I'm so tired of having centered drive shafts in the front. Like, that's been a bone I've been chewing on for how many years now? It just drives me insane. So if they actually are going to come out with a straight axle that's an offset front, I might like literally take shares in the company.
Well, let's slow down on that. Maybe don't invest in hobbies.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a tough business.
Right.
But
so the other thing that we're working on is we have new stickers that are going out to everybody.
Oh
my
croc.
God. It's a croc.
Nice. Josh, we got to get you some of those, man.
So, and Ben printed me a whole bunch of little 10th scale actual crocs too, so I can like stick them in my truck beds and stuff. So this is pretty much like the theme this year. We're just going to croc it up everywhere. I have a Team Croc sticker on the back of my RV now.
That's a company you could buy shares
awesome.
in. I'm pretty sure they're pretty cheap right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
Before I forget,
But
BT, thank you for the $20. It's very kind of you.
I
Thank
know.
you, sir.
Same here. BT is always
Very, very
so
generous
generous.
of you.
We do both
Yes,
appreciate it.
absolutely.
BT had a good question. I'm going to say I have a couple silly questions I've saved in a document here for towards the end because.
Okay.
But staying kind of on task? Do you have a company? You sell products, all that.
Yeah.
Some of these parts, like you're talking about body mounts, or you're talking about people 3D printing their own. Do you have your own shapeways, or my mini factory, or how are you getting stuff out there?
So we do have a Shapeways store, which is shapeways.com/shop/GCM Racing. So seriously, you could just put in GCM Racing in your Google, and you will probably find about every outlet we've ever used. So there's a jillion hits on all these things. And so, yeah, go there. If the product that we have on Shapeways is even remotely possible printed at home, it'll probably have a download button on it. And you guys already know this, but you have to be signed into Shapeways and you have to be on a PC to see the download button, or they will not show it to you.
Interesting.
Please don't send me any more email about that. I can't find the button on your download. Sign in, use a PC. Oh, look, it shows up. Okay. Now we're done with
Glad
that.
I have a PC.
So a lot of them are downloadable, and if they're not, sometimes we just do it through customer service. People will send an email and say, hey, have you ever thought of mounting this to this? And we'll say, yeah, here's the files. We create those kinds of things. There's really no revenue stream for us on that, and it doesn't really matter because it actually helps people to do their tiny trucking better, and that's really what we're all about anyway. So, if they can do it at home, it takes no effort for us to send the file.
That's great. Good one.
That is, and it's giving some stuff out. I try and do that as much, a lot, especially with like computer files. I like to over-engineer a roll cage design and make 3D CAD templates, and then I'll just post them on my website. And I've seen hundreds of versions of them made, and it's awesome. And they're not for sale. They're just on there. You can download them, And then if we draw, I've been having fun drawing on Sundays live in CAD, and it's great. You just give that stuff out.
That's really cool.
It's fun to, or it's cool to see. I mean, that's your business. I'm doing this stuff, and this is like while I am in the RC business as a business.
Yeah.
It's not this forward-facing one that you see. So, like what I do here, I try and give a lot of that out, and things like that. Obviously, can't do it with my day-to-day because that would be
But you should,
it wouldn't
man.
make any sense.
You should.
I know, man.
Just give parts.
Every
But-
ninth axle you buy, you get one axle free.
Right.
I'm just saying. It doesn't sound like a terrible idea. Moose Jaw RC had a question for you, Chris. Is there GCM two-wheel drive kits? I know, weird, but I want to build a 66 D100.
It's not weird. There's actually this trend right now for people to build realistic hot rods. Somewhere back in 2009, we actually had a two-wheel drive kit on the 410 where it had an old style I-beam front axle on leaf springs. It was kind of a gasser style of a truck frame. So obviously that's long gone, but there's this resurgence now for a two-wheel drive outfit, and we have a two-wheel drive setup scale transmission now that we're using in the Tamiya semi trucks. It's bomb-proof. Like, it's really easy to install there. And so that's one of the things that Dana and I have been talking about recently, is morphing that into a two-wheel drive chassis kit that can be used for custom lowrider builds and, you know, that sort of thing. So you can still get that realistic drivetrain and engine bay. Great question, because there is a resurgence for that.
I watched some of your guys', is it Scott? I follow him on Instagram. Anyway, he's been building. You reposted a couple of his
Scott,
yes. I follow him on Instagram, and he's been doing some hot rod stuff like that little tow truck that he had the Beetle on, this camper truck that he's got. So
that camper square body is ridiculous. So crazy.
Just the depth and the paint on that thing, and
he's such a fun guy. I can't believe how well he's doing with that. He's really pouring it in there.
Oh god, yeah. He posts a picture. He posted a picture today of like the bathroom area of that camp. But it just posted up, and I didn't have any context because I didn't see who posted it. I'm like, who is posting?
Bathroom.
I get it.
What always tripped me up was when I met him for the first time. His screen name is Joe122. So I'm like, "Hi, Joe.
Yeah.
How you doing, Joe?" And he's like, "It's actually Scott."
So funny, eh?
And I'm like, "Well, why is your screen name Joe?"
I don't.
It's his dog. Joe was his dog. So,
okay.
Anyway.
I get it now.
Great builder, definitely. And that's cool to know, for sure. Anything on your end, Josh? I got a couple more here, but
I mean, I've got plenty of good ones here, but they're all fun ones still.
I've got one more from Sean Hanley. He wants to know what drive shafts Chris uses for your trucks, or for the GCM trucks themselves, to help with clearance from the rear transfer case output. Yeah,
good question. The Junfac shafts all fit right in there. You can also use the Boom Racing or Extra Speed scale shafts without that hideous red ring on it.
Oh, you don't like
If you take that off the transmission side, it'll fit just fine. We had gorgeous scale drive shafts for a long time. I could probably find you some here in this 10-pound Rover here. They're tiny. They don't have that hideous red ring on them, and they have a nice square slide. These are really well made, actually, and they're not like bimetallic either, so they don't wear themselves out just by turning. It has an actual proper bronze hex in it, or square in it, and they're really nice. Anyways, unfortunately, the China shop that we were buying those from has now ceased to exist entirely. So that's a serious blow in the supply chain on those. And there's actually supply chain issues constantly in any business, so this is just one of them. But if he's looking for shafts to fit that little tiny hoop in the C-Max crossmember, I know what he's talking about. The instant fix is just to put a Junfac shaft on it, because they fit perfectly and they're readily available, and they have like 5 or 6 different lengths, and some of them are even superhuman long, so that works.
Yeah, that's seeing that side of things, and the trying to super tight tolerances, especially on trucks that don't have a huge range of travel. Everything changes so much.
Yeah, the other shafts that also fit for custom builders is stuff off of Tamiya semis. They get overlooked a lot as a supply chain for scale trucking because they also use 5mm outputs and inputs on the axles. They have a huge amount of shaft length, and they all look like actual universal drive shafts. So going to the Tamiya semi side of things for that is a really good supply chain.
Sorry, I keep cutting back and forth. Every time I've assigned a hotkey, and of course, anytime I use a C, it cuts. So probably really distracting on my side.
That's funny.
Do you? We've talked. Once you get past scalers, you're kind of out. Does a dancing rider fit into your collection anywhere? Doesn't even know what it is. That's it.
Matt, do you have a question?
Yes, actually I do. 1 second. What do you think of the dancing rider?
Oh, Lord.
No?
Seriously.
Oh, no, okay, it's all right.
Okay, well, yours actually looks pretty cool, but the one that looks like a vendor at a meat market, I can't go near that thing. That thing looks so bad. I don't know, man. I can't. Everything that we do has 4 wheels on it, and I'm pretty sure that's the way they were meant to be. So I just have to stick with that.
I have a very scale tuck. I'm just gonna say, like we could ease you into this side. We could get you a 3-wheel scale representation.
I don't know if I can.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't think I could either, Chris, and then I got one, and they are a blast. I mean, you and Dana have your indoor, like on-road.
There's a full scale basement track, in the basement.
So, this is
full scale
perfect for you.
Meaning on-road?
I mean, there's a full scale on-road racetrack in the basement with full diorama and infield and lines and barriers, and I mean it's a full scale racetrack in the basement. Wow. Shops, garages, it's insanity.
Do you guys get into the drift side at all?
No.
Okay,
no,
so it's
we race minis, Tamiya mini size down
like
there.
MO6, MO5.
And it's a super tight track, so they're all turned way down, and it's the most hilarious fun. I mean, we absolutely love laps, both of us. We just absolutely love doing laps. It's the greatest time. But like I said, they have 4 wheels, so that's where I
am. One more question.
Do you guys leave the bushings in those? Like, I have a feeling.
Easy. That's for me to do. Okay, Josh.
I'm just saying, bushings are the leaf spring of. I mean, just.
You know what, though? The only reason that I would even think of entertaining one of these weird 3-wheeled things is because it's from Tamiya, and everything they do is amazing.
True.
You couldn't be more right when it comes to the dancing rider.
You got to give it a try, man.
And you get 2 of them. You get 2 of them around that track. We'll never hear from you guys again.
You'll actually no.
Do they steer though? Like, will they actually turn corner sharp?
Oh,
on a dime.
They'll turn a corner on a dime. Like, they'll slow speed turn inside of a radius.
Oh yeah,
no way.
Like, it's amazing. You start getting speed, and that radius gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, of course.
They'll even push hard if you get too. But it's the best time you could ever have.
I didn't think I would ever say that out loud, and I am definitely a convert.
I don't know. I'll practice saying it overnight and see maybe if I can try to say it later on.
Hey, I'll tell you, the investment is low. You don't need a great servo. It comes with a motor, and any ESC will work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I will subscribe to your electronics theory with the dancing rider.
It's almost like
$20 servo. Actually, I have an $80 servo in mine.
Do.
Like, I swore, I preached it forever. I'm like, all you need is an RTR takeout $20 servo. That's all they need. The dancing rider. And I grabbed mine to work on it one day here on a live stream. And I was like, oh, I have a S9551 in this. This is an $80 servo. Oh, never mind. I'm a liar.
Humboldt,
but a $20
one final question from Humboldt here wants to know if GCM's ever going to have plans to do a 1.9 wheel And I think you guys have done some in the past.
Yeah, we've done lots of those. Right now we have a full set of 1.9s that's called Blank. And it's called Blank because the inserts can be changed. I'll show you what they look like.
This is pretty cool.
Very good. It's a good question. So this is my all-time favorite wheel, by the way. This is just a typical steel, Ford Steely. Does that even show up in the camera?
It's a little hot.
That's a little
blown out. There you go.
Let me change it. This is the back one.
Perfect.
Gotcha. Kind of an American racing outlaw looking wheel.
Yeah. So there's an outlaw looking wheel, but that's just an insert that fits inside the solid machine to billet Blank. Okay. I don't know if I can get this one in the camera either.
Yep. We can sort of see that.
Yeah, I see.
There you go.
There you go. Yep.
So that's a typical Ford steel spare. You know what I mean? So the bolt pattern is already on the wheel for 5-lug or 6-lug. So you can change the insert to whatever it is that your vehicle actually needs. Like on the Rover, I also have them on the Rover in a 5-lug.
Yep.
So it's the same machined rim. So you get all of the benefits of having that solid wheel, a solid machined hex, a nice bead lock, a 5-bolt bead lock that's right inside the actual rim, so there's no bolt sticking out rubbing on your knuckles. You know, there's some real benefits to using a machined wheel like that. But then the inserts can be home printed, painted any color you want, change the designs. Like we already have like 8 different designs just for that wheel, and they're 1.9. So they fit a lot of the larger sizes of trucks, and this customizable. I mean, it just gives people a platform to work from. So, and of course we have lots of inserts available. Actually, this week we're supposed to put the rest of those insert files on the Shapeways so they can print them in the high detail resin. And then you bring them home, you shoot them with some paint of your favorite color, and you drop them in, and Bob's your uncle.
Nice. Very modular. That's a cool way to do it.
Right. Yeah, that is. I mean, that's just a.
And they're not expensive. There's so little machining in them that they're just not expensive. So it's really cheap to get into them.
Right. And I know like you actually, are your machines in house, like within a short walk of where you're sitting, or?
No, they're in the city.
Okay.
So I live 40 minutes out of the city in a suburb. I have my office here. Oliver works here, and he does all the shipping and all the packaging and all that stuff. So half of this is his office, and half of this is my office. And then our scale garage and studio is in the back of this building. And anything that's dirty, well, except for we make the links here and a few other things at this facility, but the rest of the big machine stuff is all done in the main machine shop in Ottawa.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been in? I know you kind of talked about early 2000s when you were doing it as well, but when did you actually start in the machining side?
Right in 2000. So I used to work in the aircraft industry before that. I was in a bunch of different businesses in the 90s, and I'm actually old. So I look 12, but I'm old. And we had a wood shop. We did custom, all kinds of stuff like that. I worked at Boeing Aerospace for a while. I actually was a civil aviation mechanic for a few years and manufactured a whole bunch of airplane parts, and that led me into the sort of the more precise machine side of things. And then I started doing full-time machine shop like in 2000.
Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, kind of gives some people a background. That's it's hardly anybody just jumps right into this industry and tries to learn machining. It's usually
that's true, but I'm a tinkerer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of those guys who's just always trying to fix something and try something and try to put a tap in a drill and put it through a 3/8 plate.
Right.
Like, I'm just that kind of guy. Like, I just have to see if this will work, right? So machining actually opened up a whole bunch of avenues for me, and it's really been kind of nice on the machine side. I can beat China pricing. Like, you have no idea how much fun that is. Like, everybody says, oh, you need to get your stuff overseas. It'd be so much cheaper. I'm not really sure. I mean, if you do the programming right and you set up the machines right, you can crank out parts at a pretty rapid rate. So
Yeah, and we have to play that game as well at times, and
yeah,
U.S. prices on some things that makes it a little bit more difficult at times, or sometimes a little bit more beneficial depending on what maybe the material costs for to you might be higher, or because I don't know what kind of mills there are in Canada, honestly, but I know like a ton of like the mills, especially for like higher end materials like chromolyes and things like that, are a lot of them are domestic for high quality stuff.
Yeah.
But it's always one, especially being in an RC business, like where that's what you're fighting against all the time.
Yeah.
You have to try and do it with automation, or trying to think it through and be efficient with your programming rather than just doing it with manpower and just brute force getting them done.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I'm part of the creativity side of machining that I absolutely love to death is the programming. Like, I just love that. I love rolling the part around in the CAD and then thinking, like, how can I put a tool path on this that's going to eat material for lunch, and this thing's going to spit out in record time. And actually, because we do so much in-house design and machining, sometimes we actually change the designs to make them manufacture faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, designing without, if you're going to manufacture a part, trying to design it without that in mind, sometimes it's
terrible.
It's almost, or impossible even,
And I've seen drawings that are impossible to make. Yeah, exactly. It's really funny.
I don't know how you want me to get a drill to this piece of the part without drilling through the other side first, but it's But that's the thing where 3D printing, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's funny.
We can put a hole anywhere you want. We don't have to get a drill to that. Like,
it's pretty.
It'll be filled. It'll be filled with powder when you get it. Because in fact, I've still got some parts from Shapeways that are still spewing out powder because they're hollow inside. But they're not. Like the only way to make something hollow and also sealed is to have the powder in there. It's captured.
I didn't even know they would let you do that at Shapeways.
They do, and they drop the price on it too because they assume they're going to get the material back, but they don't.
I'm hoarding it. I'm hoarding it all.
Mine.
It's in Canada.
Yeah, that's the things that I have done through Shapeways, and obviously Shapeways pricing over the last years two, I guess, has gone crazy, but trying to design for efficient printing and almost spruing the parts so that they so you don't get, because you get charged a per piece price.
Handling.
So like $1.25, so you want to try and attach everything to one, like a little model sprue, and bundle it in a tight little nested ball. Crazy.
Speaking of sprues, did you guys happen to pick up on the fact that this STX3 kit has absolutely no parts trees?
I mentioned that in the review. It's spectacular.
That is a first for me.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have not seen a kit yet.
I thought the Vitera Ascender came that way.
You had to trim a few things on it.
Capra was the first one, I think, from Axial that was like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was new. Like I was like, why are there bags and bags upon bags? Like I was expecting to see, a Revell model kit in the box.
Right. All right, where are my clippers?
Yeah. That's new.
It's nice. I like it too. It's great to not have all that extra waste.
Yeah, it can also be a cost cutting, just because they will reuse those plastic.
Just toss them right back into the melter.
And they'll just And so.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. But I didn't even see where these all look like they're individual. They don't even look like they're actually from a family mold. The radiator itself is that's a single piece. Like there's no jointer on that anywhere. I don't know how they can do that and individually inject every single one of these pieces.
People
That's
ask
crazy.
us how we make money. The answer? Volume.
Well,
Jetwaves78 had a question for you, Chris. Is Dana finished his Tamiya Porsche 959 yet?
oh, good question.
I'm gonna guess
He
no.
has I think all the paint off it now.
Wow.
So this is a vintage 959 that was painted probably in the 80s, and half the paint was falling off on the inside of the body. So he's actually painstakingly stripping it so that he can reuse the original body and put the proper box art colors on it again and make
this
it perfect.
This is the Rothmans branded one? Yes.
Yes.
So this was
Yes.
like one of Tamiya's
it is.
first really legit
It's pretty
steel
nice.
cars,
It's
yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
all. This is all foreign
Of
to me
course
for
it is.
sure.
You were
I thought you were talking about he's got almost. You were talking about he's almost got all the paint off it. I'm like, well, does that mean it's almost done? Because Matt takes most of the paint off of his when he's almost done. So, is it a yes? No, I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah, good question. So that's a long-term project. That's just he gets another bit done on it every now and then, and so
cool.
it's really cool to see it come along. But you want to, you can't with those old vintage cars. Like you got to be careful
Yeah.
with those things. It's brittle and everything is so old.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's this project of mine, the RC10 Gold Tan, has been a really interesting exercise in finding things. I actually had a big bag arrive from a gentleman nearby in Chatham. I can't remember his name and I can't find the chat anywhere, but I have to thank him out loud because it's pretty amazing the extra stuff he sent me. But just finding stuff has been a real challenge, and I actually thought I found an original body in a hobby shop in Visalia, California, and I ordered it because it said in stock, so I ordered it. They took my PayPal money, and then a month goes by. I'm like, hey, I never got that body. Turns out it's not actually in stock. It's just on the website.
Right.
So they were happy enough to refund me.
You run into that trap.
Yeah, they were happy enough to refund me my money. But yeah, I can't even imagine on that 959. Like, has he got all the parts for it?
Yeah, he's got pretty much a complete car there now. So, and he scavenges these things from places. I don't know how he finds this stuff, but every now and then I'll get a message from him and be like, hey, look what I figured out. I got an original Hilux sticker kit. I'm like, how do you even find that? Like, he finds these things. I don't know. He's got these little fingers out in the interweb somehow, and then they come up and he just scoops them up. So it takes him a long time to finish these projects, but they're legit when he's done.
His stuff is
I'm
great.
surprised he and I don't run into each other more often when we're looking for original Hilux sticker kits. He and I must have the same search terms.
You're such... Josh.
You're probably bidding against each other the whole time.
Right. He and I just back and forth.
Oh, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. That's a fun side of RC, though, doing those old restorations.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you kind of have to go, you know what? I don't need another original Hilux chassis, but I'll probably use it someday.
And they're sexy.
Look at those leaf springs.
Those were one of the best examples of a scale item. Like,
awesome.
There's
awesome.
There's actual use.
There's some. I mean, just the shock mounts, the body mounts. It's
every
once in a while there's little things you'll see on a kit that, like, it was in my opinion a total pile of a kit, but the G-made sawback.
Right.
Yeah.
The body mounts that were on it were so true to Jeep like, and and weld, like, that was so great. The rest of the truck was hot dumpster fire garbage, but other than that, like, it was so cool. Like, I'll give him the body mounts. Beyond that, I mean, swing and a miss, but I just
you know what? Those things had such a low C of G with that Lexan Jeep body, they would almost go anywhere.
Yeah, there was not much.
There wasn't much to it.
Yeah,
it was like No, and it was like watching an old advertisement for a CJ5.
Oh, because it just
just because it didn't move at all. Those
Like,
leaf
oh, yeah.
There's no weight and and the leaf
Oh, yeah.
springs move.
yeah.
And
Yeah, no movement at all. Like, it literally just waddled and bounced through the trail, but it was so low of C of G, you couldn't tip it over, it wouldn't flip. It was just ridiculous.
and the good thing is that whatever material they decided to use instead of metal for their hardware must not have weighed anything, because that butter-like Phillips head that they used was just...
Isn't that terrible?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Like, how can that be cheaper than a real screw? I don't know.
I don't either. Like,
I don't.
there's been some kits that every once in a while you'd get it and you'd go to just turn the hardware and you'd be like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, who did you paint over something that was supposed to look like metal? The twin hammers. As fun as that little truck was at time, the
man.
hardware that came in that twin hammers kit.
Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah.
Luckily, Chris made a bunch of conversion
thing
stuff
is-
for that. It made it actually really good.
I remember that was like some of the first production 3D printed stuff I remember kind of seeing. Was you guys came out with that roof piece that had the kind of a
The
bubble
hood
top to it,
tube and the
hood for
interior
it,
panel.
I regret
Yeah.
not keeping
Oh, I
that
do
one.
kind of remember
That one was
too.
good. The interior panel.
because you guys did a whole front servo lay down or shock setup, stand up
Yeah.
shocks.
Front battery tray, proper shock hoops.
That was kind of the first time I really saw a lot of your guys' stuff kind of pop. It was a new car. You guys had hit that hard with a bunch of options. Saw a bunch of it there. You were always, when being that we were somewhat, all the three of us were foreign people so much, it was just like we saw a lot of people who were really into the hobby. So if you were a Twin Hammers guy, I was like, GCM was going to be one of the suggestions that popped up if somebody had a question.
Yeah.
And that was, I had your forward motor mount kit for my Ascender.
Oh, yes.
You had the forward motor mount kit. You guys had your own little drive shaft that you included, the transfer case, the whole deal. I had that one. And now I picked up a truck, and it's got the RC four-wheel drive scale motor in it, and now it's got a GCM transfer case portion of it on there. So yeah, that one's here. I was just looking around that thing. I was like, GCM on the back of it. What do you know?
Yeah, we haven't made that part for a while.
So
That's a LRT too. It's the small married transfer case. But to put that onto the R4 transmission from RC four-wheel drive, we had to make a special gear set for it.
Yeah.
And new tail shaft and a bunch of different stuff. And when they ran out, I didn't bother making it anymore.
Yep.
So that's a unicorn, that thing. People are still asking for those.
Josh is already thinking about how he can resell it.
Well, I'm reselling that whole
out.
truck,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Let's see.
RC Masked Master.
That Twin Hammers is still super
Is
hot,
it?
by the way, just so you know.
They still sell a lot of
Oh
those?
my goodness, guy.
No, they're.
I got like regular production on Twin Hammer.
Really?
Yeah, you can't
all
buy
the
Twin Hammers
time.
anymore.
You can't buy the original one. You can probably get the
I don't think you can buy
knockoff, though, can't you?
I think you can buy twin. Oh, you can buy lots of knockoffs. Yeah.
Do they even fit the same stuff?
Probably.
Here and there.
Yeah, a little yes, a little no.
Little of this, little of that.
I've never seen the WL Toys one. I don't know what it looks
it's
like.
awesome.
I mean, it looks like a
It's
Twin
awesome.
Hammer, but who knows
It's
if it is.
so good.
And there's 50 versions of it made by a company.
Oh, really?
Not called WP. It's like, oh
There's
god,
a lot. Just go to Boom Racing or Bang Good, and check it out there.
Yes.
Oh, that place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Lots of choices.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
Although some good stuff is
Actually, maybe
they.
they might sell a GCM-ish forward motor mount and transfer case for an SCX-10.
If they don't,
Because,
Wish does.
The Russians copied it first,
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember that.
and
Get them on eBay.
and you could buy them on eBay, yeah. And then like 4 or 5 different companies in China started copying them, and they're freaking the same. You know what was so funny is that on the very first motor mount I did on the Dingo, I was building a Toyota Hilux short bed at the same time, on the same exact SCX-10 forward motor mount, and I was going to hinge the hood on the Hilux. So on the top of the motor mount, I put 4 threaded M3 holes so I could, in case I wanted to use it for a hinge mount or something. All the Chinese people copied that. The only thing it's there for is for my Hilux hood hinge. That was it. I just love seeing that engineering. I mean, that's super top
like
shelf.
the knockoff sticker sheet that had the Scale Builders Guild logo on it.
That was a good one.
I just
too,
ran with it. I'm using it now all the time. It's on this shirt.
Yeah,
they
that's
thought
so
they
funny.
would out quirky.
Impossible.
Like, oh.
Impossible.
Oh man,
I win this round. Anybody else got any more questions for Chris before we let him go? It's been 2 hours. I don't want to keep him too long.
Yeah, we've had some vintage RC chat going on over on this side, which I don't condone. Well,
come on over to this channel, guys.
What are you guys going to do for RC this year?
Oh,
you got some stuff planned for events or for shows?
Well,
or
I've
anything?
got some bad news first. If you want me to share that one,
yeah.
Officially, I will not be going to Badlands Axial Fest this year, mostly because I'm not allowed to cross the border. They've extended the border closure to July 21st, which puts me just outside of that event, unfortunately. So won't be attending, but there will still be something brewing with Axial with me this year, so I'll leave it at that. But not going to that event. Hopefully Nationals is still a go, and hopefully East Coast Scale Challenge is still a go at the end of August. That would be a good one to go to, because I have all the trucks ready for both of them, so kind of want to do that. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, cool. I mean, right now, I swear every day I get a message about a new event that's going to happen in October. So I'm trying to figure out, like everybody has just rescheduled, and they've all rescheduled for October. So I've got, Nationals is November. We've got some events around here that are going on all through October. I've got the NERSA show, which is the National Retail Hobby Store Association show.
Oh yeah,
that I go to in Vegas every year. That's I plan to go to that in October still, and then the rest of the events and things like that. But we'll see how that all shakes out. Hopefully, we don't see any other
setbacks,
comebacks and shutdowns, anything like that. But hopefully everything is good to go. But yeah, like Matt saying Nationals and all that, I have one truck left for that event, so I need to start over.
Yeah, you better get going on that too. We've got a lot of other projects going on in the next few months.
Yeah,
so.
And then Matt and I have our next series to start here in hopefully 2 short weeks. Although I'm waiting on. I have to wait for.
Well, so do I, because I don't have everything I need either.
True. That's
so we
true.
we shouldn't really announce it yet.
Those are.
No, we won't.
Those are always lots of fun to watch.
Thank you,
so
Chris.
I mean, you guys are so involved in it, trying to produce it and everything else, but it is fun to watch. So it's like I don't watch TV; I just watch you guys, and the entertainment factor is way up.
Yeah, it's those are fun, and I think those are the closest thing to like any sort of actual, storyline plot that you would be able to find with anything we do. But that's I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully we're all. If everything does start looking great and all that, I might try and make it out to the East Coast to see you guys at one of those.
Nice. Chris, are you coming to East Coast Scale Challenge this year if it happens at the end of August?
Dana was scheduled to go on our behalf this year, and now he's just about to have a new baby.
Oh, again.
Wow.
So those plans have changed. and I'm out in August, so I won't be down there. And if he's not going, then maybe we'll send a bunch of the other GCM team that are also close to you, Matt. Actually, there's a bunch of guys down in that Toronto GTA area. So
some very good guys.
They'll have to rep for us, I think, this year.
Yeah, I guess there's still Pro Line by the Fire. That's also in October, right?
That was another one in October. I'm gonna. Hopefully, I'll get to see Nicole during the week. But I've got live videos on Wednesday and Friday, so I don't know when that's going to happen.
Well, live videos on Wednesday will probably stop for a little while we do Mayhem. So you've got a little respite from that. But yeah, we've got full calendars of video stuff to do. Never mind going out and seeing people.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. I've been crawling again the last couple of weeks, and that's felt
I got out.
Good.
It does, I know. Yeah, I'm excited. So Dana and I have this thing planned. We've got some really nice terrain up here. I don't know if you've ever been up this way, Matt, but we have some really nice local ravine terrain and stuff in old creek beds, and there's a lot of really fun stuff to do for tiny trucking, like right local. And everybody's so starved for RCing around here that it's like you can literally make a couple phone calls and have 5 or 10 guys come out and just really have a fun time. So I think that's going to be our summer up here. Honestly, it's going to be hitting all the local holes and reconnecting with some of the guys in the local clubs and stuff. So should be fun.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that. Just hopefully we just reboot, get going.
I think we're all looking forward to that.
Have some fun.
And on that note, Chris, I think we'll let you go. Thank you so much for participating tonight. It's been a real pleasure having you and answering so many questions. It's pretty amazing, man. You've built a really great company there, and you've got a lot of really cool products. And thank you.
I appreciate the chance to come on. Yeah, it's really fun. It's been fun to talk to you guys on the live in person and instead of just on the other side of the video,
definitely.
So thanks for being on the show. And it was a really good time.
Thanks again.
Thank you again, Chris. Good chat. Good to talk to you.
Good to see you, fellas.
Now I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to let you go without
rock on, everybody.
We'll see. That's
rocks for the win. My little final plug here.
All right, Chris.
And no crock offs. They have to be genuine. No crock offs.
Oh my god.
See you, buddy.
See you later, guys.
See ya.
Bye bye.
I think he just hangs up. That'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, and now you're huge. I'm gonna fix you. How did you get so big?
You should stop talking already.
I just want to edit you.
Yeah, I don't know why you're. Let's see.
Yeah, you're like massive.
You have to stop talking.
Don't be so Josh. There we go. Fixed.
Right.
Fixed. Huge and off screen. Perfect. Crock on, dude.
I'm trying.
That was fun. Chris is
that was good.
An excellent chatter. He likes to. He's got a lot of good, relevant information about the hobby and a lot of experience in it too. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, and he's been around it for so long as well.
Yeah.
Just makes for good conversation. It was awesome to have him on. I'm glad I thought of that. So, you're welcome.
You know what I really the other thing I really like about you is that you're really humble. You just really like
right.
you never really make it about you. It's always just about everything else. It's really special.
You know what? You and Nicole have a lot in common.
It's true.
Oh god, yeah. Jose was saying in here, I got RC 4-wheel drive West Coast in October.
Oh
as well.
Man.
We've got one that's called Crawling Out of COVID, which is normally our Crawl for a Cure
event. Okay. Are they doing something to? Are they still sponsoring it? Autism awareness? or are they throwing
It's
some money
those
at
guys who are helping to throw the event.
Cool. That's cool.
So, yes.
Nice one.
So yeah, I mean, that's going to be I don't even know what events conflict yet, but there's no way that all of these can happen and them not conflict. So
yeah, there's only so many weekends.
Yeah,
like I think October probably only has 4.
Yeah. Flip the coin how that one's going to work.
I'll check a calendar here, but I think you're... Whoa, no. Yep, no, 5. There's 5, technically, because the 31st falls on a Saturday.
31st is Saturday. Yeah. But yeah, they're just... And then, the first weekend after, we've got Nationals again, so...
Oh, Lord.
I don't even know when I'm going to find time to work.
Yeah, you're going to have to take a sabbatical.
Yeah.
Can you imagine asking Jim? Or Steve? Never mind.
Well, Steve knows I've got.
Steve knows you don't do anything.
Steve, I've got 2 events in Vegas within 4 or 5 weeks.
So he's coming with you.
Steve's gonna be like, I'm going too. Like, you're not going to Vegas, and I'm not.
I hear there's gambling there.
Yeah, and definitely
buffets.
Gambling this deal. So, oh man, I'm just. So hopefully fall is good. Looking forward to it.
As am I.
But
I'm going to have to figure out. I'm going to have to just kind of play it by ear. I'm not going to book anything yet. I'm just going to have to kind of see what happens.
Right.
Nationals, I don't really want to miss that one.
Agreed. That's the big one for sure.
Mostly because we've been tasked with, emceeing that event and being a pretty big part of it. So.
Right. Yeah, and definitely need I just think that'll be a great event.
Oh,
I just have a lot of work to do before that again. So
I don't know why you did what you did.
Yeah.
All these trucks are ready. I am done. Ready to go. Well, you know what? Scrap all that. I want to start again.
Exactly. Like, can't just look at those trucks sitting here for that long and not.
I better just sell them.
Yeah, we'll just sell those and start over. I don't know why your video size just jumped on me, but
like bigger?
Yeah, I just need to constrain it. I'll get it. Thanks for that. Okay. You're very helpful.
Well, I'm nothing if not helpful.
So, yeah, the let's see, what else do we have? We've got events. We've got video projects. I mean, it sounds like we have the possibility of even other interesting video projects popping up.
Yes, that was an interesting chat today as well. I'd be curious to see what could develop from that because, I'm excellent as an on-air personality, and you're a pretty decent sidekick.
And if there's actually any work that needs to be done,
you're definitely doing it.
Like,
yes.
Right.
Yeah. I'll slap some paint on at the end. I'm like that guy on, what's that dude's name? He used to be on like the Speed Channel. I guess he still has his show. He has a lady's name.
Rutledge Wood.
No. How many ladies have you met named Rutledge? Stacy Adams.
Stacey Abrams. Stacy something.
Yeah.
He used to be on Trucks or whatever it was
Truckin'.
Truckin'. That or something like that.
I remember
what was that called? Power Block.
Right.
He built the Copperhead and a bunch of other cool stuff.
Right. That's the guy I'm thinking of. That's me.
Yes. That's you? Yeah. No, that guy was pretty good.
Good one. It's good.
Trying to think of who we could go with here. I'm going to say, you know what? Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh, wow.
Very, very personable.
Very personable.
You can hit it with a hammer, but no.
Yep.
Just
gets to say a lot of
Stacey
cool.
David.
Stacey
Thank
David.
You, everybody.
Yes, Craig Thompson said that too. Thank you, Stacey.
Yes.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Stacey. Gears now,
Yeah,
right? It was also a long time ago in Canada. We had a channel called the Nashville Network, and that's
We had that here.
Oh, you
too.
did? Okay, that's where
We did.
That's where he was for us originally.
They had like Chrome Shop Mafia on. No, maybe that was on CMT.
Yeah. Well, we had CMT as well, but that came much later.
I can't remember. Yeah, I remember. Did know that he had a show called Gears, but I didn't really ever watch that one. I watched it when it was on Power Block, and we used to watch car shows on Saturday morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yep.
before the internet.
And I would always
and the YouTube.
You had to watch it consistently to know what the hell he was working on too, because sometimes he'd show up and he's like, "Today we're putting the axle on." And you're like, "On what?" I don't even know what we're building now.
Yeah, that was probably kind of like mine every once in a while. I'm like, today we're gonna work on this project, and I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Like, or where did that project go that you started along?
Yes.
Don't worry about that project. That's some old stuff.
Like overhauling, which I probably need to finish, which I haven't finished yet because I've been lazy on the interior of that truck.
I have my new flip that truck.
Oh,
here.
do you? Are you willing to
do.
show this truck?
I would, but it's in my Jeep.
You leave stuff in your you leave stuff in your Jeep?
Yeah, because I live in a nice neighborhood.
I don't leave stuff in my Jeep anywhere.
I
locked the middle compartment and the glove box.
God, I figured they'd be nicer than that.
No,
there.
it's not that it's not nice here. It's very nice.
Yes.
One time, though, I left the truck unlocked, and some enterprising individual decided to take the Torx wrench kit, so now I can't take my roof off. It was a Jeep branded one, too.
Maybe you have it. Handy toolkit
I
behind
still
you.
have them. That's fine. I don't need that thing. No, it was a nice branded kit that came with the truck. And it's like, that's the only thing they stole. Oh, that and the glass breaker that one of my Ford clients gave me. It was a Ford branded glass breaker.
Oh, wow.
And it also had a seatbelt ripper.
Yes. I know the novelty tool that is.
Yeah.
Like that's.
It was nice.
It was very.
And they
nice.
actually, that same individual who just, I left it unlocked, so I mean, fair game. It was, up for grabs. But they probably use that for the cars that aren't unlocked now.
Yeah. Oh, look at this.
You are welcome, criminal.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But no, I will go get it because I left it in my Jeep. I got home minutes before we started.
Right. As per usual. This is the only difficult thing about the West Coast, East Coast thing is that the 3-hour thing is a big deal because it makes it hard for makes it hard to start any later for me and any earlier for you.
Yeah, so. it's that spot that we have here.
Yeah.
We end and it's time for Matt to go to bed. And
you've got 4 hours of filming to do after this.
Right. Well, I think I started last night on designing up my the beginning of what my body plans are for my. At this point, is planned to be my Class 1.
This is the CJ, right?
See. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm gonna go CJ front with Commando rear.
Oh, interesting. That'll be a cool build.
So, yeah, we'll see. And that's going to be my first dive into what I hope is a carbon fiber molded body.
So,
We'll see.
I'm not super up on my carbon fiber construction, but do you have to vacuum form it in a giant vacuum? And bake it like a really hot temperature.
So you don't. So there's a couple of different ways, and there's a couple of different types. So you make your mold, whatever the mold is, So out of whatever, like if you had this mold of a mouse, and you had it mounted to a board like this, say. Okay. So that's your buck, and it's all done. You would take then, and you can, with mold release and things like that, put on there. Then you can start to lay up your carbon fiber. So putting carbon fiber cloth on it, resin,
Yep.
cloth, blah, 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 through. And then when you're done, once you put all your carbon fiber on there, you'll put like a peel ply on it first. So, and then you put a breather cloth on, and then you put a big bag over it. Okay. And that's sealed. And in that bag, you have a vacuum port. So the vacuum, you put a vacuum on it, and it,
Yep.
and it sucks all the excess resin out of the carbon fiber and into that mat. So then you peel off, and then you'll have what's left. But you leave it in that vacuum for like 24 hours.
Got it. Okay.
And then when it's done, it's done. The ones with the oven, that's when there's carbon fiber called pre-preg. So it's pre-impregnated with the resins. And you can basically cut that, and it's tacky, but it's not wet like you can basically put that in there, and I'm not sure if you still put more resin on or not. I can't remember. But you do a similar thing, but then you need to bake that because it's got a resin that needs to be cured.
Yep.
And there's more to it, and I am a amateur at what my research is even.
Right. But sounds like a pretty interesting process.
Yeah, it's very similar to fiberglass, like these guys are saying. So yeah, and I'm hoping I'm designing the parts in here so that I can break them apart, and actually I'm designing it in the way that it will be constructed. So I'll have that all in mind throughout this whole process, and go through that. But then my plan is to CNC the molds, or or a combination of printed and CNC'd. Yep. But I'm hoping to CNC most of it out of it's basically like a mold making board.
Got it.
It's a epoxy foam type thing that you can easily cut with the CNC, and then
but it holds its
finish
structure,
it.
so you can do the vacuum forming stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll see.
It sounds pretty ambitious, but it is going to be really neat.
It is very ambitious. If I can get the front done, like the back side of it, like I could, if I need to, like I could still stamp, do my pressed metal panels for that, and it would still look really cool, but I could be done in a much shorter time, and it would cost me much less than if I'm going to try all this carbon fiber.
But you know what? That's one of the fun parts of this hobby, is taking things to that next level, doing something that hasn't been done, or doing something that you're not familiar with, and making something cool out of it.
Oh yeah, like that's, and carbon fiber stuff is like something I think is so cool, and it's like I can use that for who knows what else in the future if I have the machinery to produce my own carbon fiber things. Like I invested in this CNC machine because of projects other than RC that I don't know of, but I know it's capable of. Like, it's pretty much just RC.
Yeah, let's be honest with each other here.
Logan was giving me a suggestion here on who to check out for the molds, and I'm going to take a note of that. I've been YouTubing and researching quite a bit, but carbon fiber work in general is fascinating me.
Yeah. Well, that's great, man. It's good to have that.
Yeah.
And, hopefully you'll get it done in time.
Well, that wouldn't be exciting if it was done in time. It's like, I'm hoping I'm at the event and still trying to cure that, like, don't touch the carbon fiber yet.
Just like the dust just sticks to it.
Yeah, it's like, shit.
Damn it. All right, on that note, do you want to wrap this one up for tonight?
Let's do it. It was a good one.
Yeah, definitely. That was a lot of fun.
Thanks again to Chris for joining us. Thanks. We've, like I said, 14 of these episodes already.
Can't believe it.
Can't be done.
But it has been.
Anyway.
Yeah. And thank you, everybody, for watching. And thanks for your questions as well. Made it a lot easier for us.
Great questions.
Yeah, definitely. This was a good one. So thank you for participating. And until Monthly Mayhem starts, I guess we'll just keep these rolling. So we've got at least 2 more.
And I think we should hopefully, once we kind of confirm that we have everything, I think we should maybe even officially tease or kind of
yeah, there should be an announcement of some description.
Get some excitement because it's going to be good.
Yeah, that's true.
So good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's actually, there's a note here from Tossman who mentioned that Nigel Farron, who was a builder on the SPG, he did a carbon fiber build. So I will send you the link to that one.
Yeah, I know there's another guy out of New Mexico who I butcher his name all the time, and now I can't remember. He's a cool carbon fiber G6 one.
Okay, cool.
Or G6, but yeah, there was definitely, if there's a good build thread, send it.
I will indeed. All right, guys, thanks so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you again soon.
Later, guys.
Bye.